Hi guys, welcome back to Clockwork Noodles. We are very scarily approaching the end of the season now. We don't have much time left, and I still need to get my butt moving and crown my top 3 so I can actually record and edit my actual wrap-up video. I am so close. I'm just having a bit of a rough time ordering everything. I've got 5 that I want to cram into 4 spots. Something's got to go, but which one's going to go? It's difficult. So make sure you are subscribed so you can catch that video when it goes up and I eventually make up my damn mind. It's difficult. There's so much good anime this season. And as well, you guys are crying. I'm not crying. Jesus, I wasn't crying. Who was crying? And make sure you guys are on the Discord channel if you want to have notifications sent to your phone to allow you to know when videos go up on the channel. Episode 9 wanted to kick me. Episode 9 physically just wanted to hurt me. It wanted to hurt me. And there's so much good stuff to talk about. We just need to kick off and go. So, welcome back to the anime that is definitely going to end bad. I wrote that before watching the episode, and my god, I was right. The odds that are 5 to thousands of thousands. The anime definitely not giving anybody a break this seemingly last episode for these guys anyway. So it definitely seems to be the end of at least Spearhead this episode. We do get a clear view of Shin's wound, which still is super sus. This is super mega sus for me. He was strangled. He wasn't beheaded. We didn't see him lose his head. But that kind of scar really does look like it is. Although we're never going to find out, are we? Clearly. I mean, we have got another call coming up. So something odd's got to happen at some point. Shin has finally found his brother and he is making a quick beeline to him. It would, again, be super low odds if they even reached the brother in the way of all of those units and a bombardment in one piece. Shin, thankfully, has a bit of plot armor on his side and his brother's allowing him to find him. So he's probably giving him a bit of a clear goal. Just to come to me. You don't need to fight anybody. Just come here. That's where you need to be. But this week's audio soundboard. Oh, I need to talk about the audio so much this week. This week's got some good audio. Initially, we start out with just a bit of a soundboard. It's purposely designed to be overwhelming. We've got non-stop screaming, shouting, lots of final last words, making it feel like it's just an overwhelming situation, which again, we've got 5 people facing the adrenaline rush of this suicide mission who at this point aren't really expected to come out of it alive. It's just an amalgamation of all of these deadlines, lining our ears, making us feel overwhelmed as the same feelings that these guys too are perhaps going through. The Legion were no doubt setting up a trap. They were trying to split them up, and Shin just wants it. Shin at this point is just making a beeline. He can't hear their voices. They even say he can't hear us now. It's too late. He's focused. He knows where he's going. It's going to be a brother versus brother. A bit of private time so the guys get to duke it out. But he was lending Shin a bit of a hand just to let him at least have a chance get to him in one piece, because it would kind of suck if Shin got wiped out before he could even face his own brother. But I don't think anybody was shocked this episode that this battle wasn't going very smooth. Shin can't seem to land a blow, which, I mean, this guy is unlike anything you've ever faced before. If you thought it would be that easy to land a blow on him, it's wishful thinking, definitely wishful thinking at the most. Shin wants death by his brother's own hands. He too just kind of wants to die. He wants to also kill his brother, but at the same time, he is also, I think he would probably not accept death by anybody else's hands at this point. Now, Vladilena, initially turning a horrific scene even more absolutely horrific, controlling Raiden's eyeball. This is scary stuff, Vladilena, but my god, Vladilena needs to get some kudo points this week because she's gone wild. Vladilena has gone rogue, guys. I repeat, Vladilena has just gone rogue. But I definitely don't want to know how many people died to get that kind of technology. But surprise! Vladilena has got a present for some of these legions, and it's a fun present, guys. This, I think, is our ripple. This is just a ripple of the tide starting to swap a little bit. Just a little ripple of hope. A little tiny ripple of hope, because the episode's about to 360 me in the face. But it is a little ripple of hope for this little section. I was like, ooh, is this what we've been waiting for? Yes. Vladilena is risking her eyesight to take over Raiden's eye, just to try giving him a chance. Try and blow some of these legions up. Try and give him a chance. Vladilena does say that she isn't going to get killed for taking over the mortars, which I don't know. I mean, there's going to be a backlash. There's definitely going to be a backlash for her using these mortars. We'll talk about as well a certain other character who might also be receiving a bit of a backlash next time. But this is a team up I have been waiting for. I didn't know I needed it so bad until it actually happened. Actually getting to see those true smiles as Vladilena has finally broken Rogue. The Sawano score during the Shin's assault on the Shepherd. It's fantastic. We've got some beautiful strings playing some very short notes, which are starting to sound very, very nimble. Very, as he's weaving in and out the trees, they're short. They're meant to be very sharp, very plucky. Eventually, the notes start to flow together. The melody starts to come together. It knits itself together as we see Shin starting to lose the high ground as he is sent into the air and onto his back. But the melody starts to soar, it soars, it brings in some major notes because the enemy is starting to also withdraw. But Shin, sadly, at this point looking like he was going down to his brother's mercy, but at the end of the day, that is kind of what he wanted. Now, the conversation between Renna and we've got Vladilena as well. This team up, both of them really liking him at the end of the day, neither wanting to see him die. Absolutely love the fact that they both try and save him. The fact that it is these two together who are able to create what goes down to be an amazing moment, an amazing finish to this little segment, this story of Shin and his brother. Shin's brother really does want to apologise. We know he wants to apologise, but even in his slightly crazy shepherd form, he says, we want to catch up, I'll read you a story. Him trying of anything to show that he has got so much guilt and he really does actually love him. And we even have the section where he says, I love him, which then transitions to quite a meta section. There's meta section which has one of the best transition sections back. I really like this. Just seeing baby Vladilena standing there breaking the chocolate, bringing him a little bit to his senses of anything, because again, he must be able to hear her voice over the waves as well, so he can hear her voice, a voice that he's only heard once, but it brings him back to this moment. It's almost like she's trying to snap him back to this moment. Her words now add to my suspicions, and she says, you're gonna kill him again, implying that he's already dead. And I mean, the ending of this little bit maybe playing into the fact that he really was dead to begin with. Vladilena sucker punch. Ooh, I like this so much. She just suddenly grows into a proper Vladilena. The transition back to having a dud mortar strike on his head. It's somebody finally stepping some sense into this boy, because your actions are not matching your words. I also think she's using duds. Apart from the fact she said that's 52% were pretty much duds. That's what she got because they weren't really being used. But as well, using duds does allow Shin to still get that final blow. It doesn't take the final blow away from Shin. She's not stealing it. She's not jumping in and taking it away from Shin, because that's Shin's ultimate goal. He needs to deal with his brother. So she's not taking it away from him. I like that. Hearing Vladilena cry his name finally brings about our turn. This is the moment most of us have probably been waiting for. I would have been happy if it just ended after this section, to be fair. It's an amazing sound score. The vocals kick in, the glitchy rhythm starts to kick in, which really fits because the shepherd's face is glitchy and it alters, and it's a little bit almost unnerving seeing those different kind of emotions going through his face all at once. It really matches it. The major scale also kicking in now as he finally smiles, as he finally gets to take out his brother. This is Shin's goal. This is his story. This is the end that he really wanted. This is what he was aiming for. His life's goal is done. Shin's brother finally giving us some happy words where he says, I'm sorry. And this, we can see the effect of just hearing these words. That's something that Shin has longed for, as his face turning into that smile into a cry is so perfectly timing as well, because it then whites out as we go through that inevitable blast taking over the screen. The end theme Avid starts to play as Shin is finally able to just let it all out. Let it all flow. All those years, everything on your chest is finally free just to scream, shout, cry your eyes out. He's finally able to see his brother's face in all of his memories. The fog has now lifted. Simply hearing the words, I'm sorry, just understanding that his brother really doesn't hate him, has allowed him to finally look back on the past and see all those amazing emotional sequences. That it hit me in the feels. This bit hit me in the feels the most. seeing him breaking down, seeing this character who's been calm and collected all up until this point, seeing him literally just crying out, getting a good look as well at just the times that the brothers hung out, the smiles, brothers being brothers, I'm gonna make you smile and force you to smile, and we'll do everything that brothers will do. That there were good points, there were good moments before everything went downhill. Avid really has grown on me as an ED. I wasn't actually keen on it initially. It was Sawano, so I gave it all the credit it deserved. But it just fits. It's just a piece that really fits. And the cello is just perfect. The way it sounds raw, the way it's deep, and it brings about those really deep emotions that this anime handles. It's rich, it's deep, it's beautiful. Shin's breakdown is just a release for everybody. Everyone in the audience probably needing a good cry at this point. The bit where Raiden actually blocks his raid, telling also Vladilena, that's it, let's give him a moment. It's touching. Just let him have a moment, let him cry, get it out of his system. Because we can all hear you, but we don't want it. We're going to turn off for this moment. The sky starts to clear up and we finally get the sunset. The sunset, however, is very symbolic of a chapter end. I initially put it down to Shin's mission is finally done. This is the end of his chapter. However, it was disguising the fact that what was about to happen as well. So it kind of tricks you in. This episode fakes you out because you think, oh, we're in the clear. This is okay. We're just going to wait till another mission's going to come our way. That's not the case. They get to live another day, however, but at what cost? Obviously, I wrote this before the last section kicked in and it was painful. But the smiles, seeing everybody smiling, it's all heartwarming. It's a moment that we all kind of needed. It's a moment that we really just have been longing to see. The Vladilena flip was really, really welcome. But I literally did just drop absolutely everything as we panned to the back. I, honest to God, was not expecting to see Annette sitting on the floor, who has most definitely aided Vladilena, who's gone rogue, to do the eye takeover, definitely. And the mortars. I was like, maybe the mortars, definitely the mortars. But Vladilena is persistent, and that's probably one of her big qualities. She doesn't give up. She doesn't let on. That's her good quality. Annoying to probably some who don't want her to be like that, but it's good. But at this point as well, Annette must also now be in too deep. Somebody's going to find out that there were mortars being used, and there's only a few people who have those codes. Definitely going to be Annette's head on the line as well. Annette and Vladilena are now kind of in it together, which I like. They're both devils together, as they say. But I do think there's going to be a backlash at some point. Annette finally finds out that Shin is the Undertaker. I knew there was a reason why we had this link. This link is being used. It's just a great reveal. Annette finding out that, you've been threatening to take the Undertaker apart. He's your friend. He's the person you sold out. It's great. We get to see all the built-up guilt that she's been carrying all these years finally breaking loose. As Annette literally just demanding, is Shin alive? Does he still hate me? And Vladilena just, I like this Vladilena. This Vladilena finally playing nasty because nobody else is playing nice. She plays cold. We have the piano at this point being quick. It's jumbled. It's all together. It's just showing you how the situation is starting to escalate as she's got control of it. Very controlled, even though it sounds out of control. But that's what Sawano is really good at. He's very good at making those very crazy, almost feeling insane at times, pieces of music. And the bit which really does come to mind is those moments in Attack on Titan where it's just piano getting worse and worse and worse, and it's spiraling out of control as the plot starts to get more convoluted. This reminded me of that. The lines, will you abandon him again? Vladilena is playing dirty, but she needs to. She isn't going to get anything done playing nice now. She needs to start hitting. It is Vladilena Unleashed, and it is the best Vladilena. I really hope she continues this spark, even though she does seem a little bit put out at the end. But I do hope she can regain this kind of attitude. Spearhead finally recognising its handler should have been a bit of a red flag to me. And they start to joke about the new bad girl in town. It's great, I like it. It's the moment I've waited for, but it's going to be so short-lived. Where we get Shin even thanking Vladilena and even saying that, the dud round was just such a clever move. It was just something that it may have just been down to the fact that half of them didn't work. But again, it really helped, and it allowed Shin to finally deal with his business and bought him that opening that he needed. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fact the anime den comes around and sucker punches us in the face as the team get ready for another mission. And this time, this mission is one we can't go with them. Music now. The synth starting to build. The violin is below the synth. It's stuck. It's lost. This, I think, is very clever. I'm going to break down the music quickly. I believe this synth is the team rearing up to go on to the next battle, continuing onwards. The violin is Vladilena. The violin is quieter. You can kind of hear it creeping under the noise. She wants to say something. She wants to tell them, no, don't leave me behind, don't go. She wants to say something, but she's unable to speak. The violin at this point is quiet. It's at a lower level. The violin playing muted notes. The team are leaving Vladilena behind. They're going off the grid. We're going somewhere that she can never go. And I feel like this is just an entire big metaphor. Somewhere where they're going to go out of contact. We can see at the end as well, the flickering of the light as it finally disconnects. It's just, again, the beautiful sound score starting to pick up now, as it should have been more red flags because the sound score's starting to build up as we start to see Vladilena getting the point that Vladilena will be unable to contact them. They're going to their deaths. And we see her just taking off. They start to mention some very ominous bits and pieces over the static. The red flower field is mentioned. The flowers they're mentioning are Japanese spider lilies. They are the flower you all recognise. If you're an anime fan, you've watched anime long enough, you've seen these plants. They've been used in Demon Slayer. They were used in Fruits Basket for Akito, her flower. These flowers are just a bad omen. They symbolise death. The petals falling off as they say, oh, we're walking by. The petals are starting to fall off. It's a symbol of death. These flowers are losing their petals. They're falling down. They are breaking apart. Shin's goodbye as he leaves as well. Oh, it's so painful because it did seem like they were just ignoring Vladilena as she was calling out, crying her eyes out. I was like, oh, are they unable to reach her? Maybe they can't hear her. I think they can hear her, but maybe they can't. But Shin's final goodbye as he leaves now, and he goes radio silent. We have radio silence finally for the first time in all of the anime which we've been watching. The radio cuts seemingly for the last time as Sawano finally blesses our ears. Vladilena cries her entire heart out, and then we get the visual of the red field. 5 birds flying to freedom. It is a gorgeous soundtrack. It's fantastic. It builds. We hear horns. It's all very military. We hear that continuous military beat that is never ending. These guys are walking never-ending fights every single day. The never-ending beat never gives up. When we start to see the birds fly, we have the horns. Horns bringing in the victory. They finally achieved what they want to do, which is a freedom, a death, a freedom from fighting. We have 2 episodes left of this core. The second core comes out in full. Again, I'm not 100% sure if I'm joining you, but we'll have to see how I feel when it comes around and how much other stuff I want to break down with you guys. The ending could be symbolic for death. Again, we are seeing this Japanese spider lilies that are always generally used around death, bad scenes. People are in danger. Red is a danger sign. 5 birds flying into the sky. It's not a coincidence. Flying into death, flying into their victory, flying into freedom. Or it could just be that the anime really likes its symbolism and these guys might come back somehow at some other point. But I'm not sure that's going to be the case because these guys have crossed out of 86. They've left 86 and they've gone over the border, seemingly into where the Legion are. So I think that's probably perhaps what's the other side because they can't go into San Magnolia. But I don't think so. I think the chances of them being dead are slightly higher, and it's 5 of them against the entire Legion. It's not going to end well. The ripples of hope this episode, there were these ripples. Annette doing her 360, finally showing that she's actually not beyond forgiveness. She might be savable. Vladilena going rogue. I love it. But to what end? Spearhead now seemingly gone. She is a handler without a unit. On record, it's just going to say they died in the attack because they've gone off the grid. It looks like their signal is lost. That's it. They're gone. So how is this anime going to end? Maybe spoiled it for myself by accidentally looking at a cover art. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys because, again, I think people here watch me aren't all just manga readers. I think there are some of you who aren't. I'm not spoiling it. But let's just say I've confused myself. It's confusing. So I'm now even more confused. I don't know if I've spoiled myself or just made things worse because I don't understand what I looked at. I don't think I'm spoiled. I think I'm really confused. Very curious to see what the next 2 episodes are going to be. Is it going to be Vladilena's side? Are we going to actually see the scene play out, the guys in the red field and maybe what happened? Not quite sure. The guys said they saw a cathedral, as we also got a screenshot of a cathedral. I did wonder, because there was also these fields of red along the riverbank. I was wondering if they were actually coming into San Magnolia. That's not the case. That's definitely not the case. But there was a lot of similarities with the scenery that they were seeing. So I'm not quite sure what had happened. Even if it's a symbol that they haven't died and they have just gained freedom by walking away from 86, finally getting that freedom, that could also be what that is. So maybe that is a more hopeful way of looking at it, that they're just free of the cruelties of San Magnolia. They've gone over the border. They're waiting it out in a church in this field. I mean, there's a lot of symbolism going on for it just to be nothing. Fantastic episode. I like this episode. This episode really was great. I really like the way this episode came together. Probably one of my favourite episodes. I think it is probably it made me almost cry as well. So it was close. If an anime can make me cry, it's doing a lot good. I've cried perhaps a couple of times on this anime. Not too much. Just little moments have got me, especially if I've piggybacked off another anime. And I'm watching a lot of heavy series this week. So I will see you guys again for next week. We are coming into the final 2. The wrap-up video should be up within a week. I really need to get that done. I need to get my skates on and finally just decide what my top 3 are. See you guys again soon. Have a good day.